In the aftermath of the last case, JJ and Zion meet up at the Isthmus Diner to try and get some gossip, and Jo teams up with Onyx to experiment with the mysterious plans for a lens she found at Viola Weatherby's lab. Mama Moretta receives invites for them all to attend the Night of Gilded Birds at the ArcLight in Nova, an artistic gala for young artists to find patrons. The night promises a bustling party, free-flowing sparkling wine, a slew of dates, and wonderful music. We must ask ourselves, as a young harpist arrives on stage, how will she fare in her performance this evening?
Jo and JJ, you feel yourself falling. Emptiness in your stomach, and you touch down on something, but you don't get hurt. It's light, feather-like, and you begin to see color opening up in the space in front of you. You don't see one another, but you find yourself somewhere you've been before. You were a little younger, maybe a lot younger. And as this color spreads and the scene comes fully into focus, I need you, JJ, to tell me where you are in your memories.
I am back at my first house, and me and my younger sister are in our backyard, and maybe we had some sort of like fort back there. I'm back at a memory where we're hiding something under the floorboards that's just for us. Maybe it's a time capsule. We have a time capsule because we just learned about it and we were very excited.
Your backyard has this thick, large, beautiful tree, and underneath it, you have built yourselves this little hideout and hangout. You are running through the backyard after your younger sister, who holds this metal box underneath her arm, and she rips open the door. She turns around and you see this bright smile on a young girl's face. Come on, JJ, I know the best spot.
What? And I think JJ, kind of makes a decision, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth if I get to, re-explore this moment with my sister, who I have not seen in a very long time.
And she leaves the door open for you to follow in as she runs inside, drops the box with a loud bang onto the wooden floor, and gets down on her hands and knees and starts trying to wedge her fingers between the cracks in the wood. I know I can do it. It's right here.
No, it's the one over... You never remembered. It's the one over there.
Oh.
It was always 3 boards from the left side in the corner.
1, 2... Oh. You're right. She moves over to where you directed and gets her fingers under. It's a lot easier since this one's actually loose. And she rips it up. What if it doesn't fit?
Well, we'll dig deeper?
Okay.
But it'll fit. I know that it... And never mind. Here. And I think JJ gets down on her hands and knees and remembers pulling out other little, doodads they had hidden throughout the years. And he's like, No, we shouldn't put the marbles in the box. It's full already.
Yeah, we've locked it. We can't look at it or open it for a long time. That's the rules.
Pinky promise.
Pinky promise. She hooks her pinky around yours.
All right, quick, before Mom and Dad call for us for dinner.
Okay. She, jams it in underneath the floorboard, and you guys both have to take the wood and press it back down on top, and it kind of digs itself, wedging further into the dirt underneath this little fort of yours.
And I think JJ, smiles and is, really satisfied with it, and then, looks up at her younger sister and is just, realizing, again, April, I'm really happy to see you.
Her brows furrow. JJ, you see me every day. You sleep next door.
And every day I'm happy to see you.
Gross. She stands up. Maybe, just in case. And she starts jumping up and down on top of the floorboard, trying to smash it further in.
No. Stop.
What?
It's like this. And JJ will start jumping on it as well.
And both of you just jumping up and down, squealing with laughter as you bury this time capsule. As the energy of the moment kind of dies down, like you remember it doing, she's looking at you. Bright smile on her face. And you distantly hear a note. And as you hear that, you watch in horror as her face begins to melt. Skin dripping from forehead to chin, eyes disappearing into her skull until it's featureless. A blank slate, faceless.
April, no, this was a good dream. This is a good dream.
The color in the scene is sucked from the space.
April?
Your voice echoes into nothingness and you feel yourself begin to fall again.
I'll just close my eyes.
Joe, as colors begin to appear around you, where are you?
I think I'm in my dorm room at Retman's with Mel. I'm on my bed reading, and she is sitting on the floor also studying, and the sunlight is streaming through the windows, and it's very calm and peaceful. But I stop reading and just look at her for a long time.
Through the dust motes that are lit up by the sun in this room, Mel is sitting on the floor, knees up, book in lap. She has on this little bit larger than fitting sweatshirt that has Retman's across the front of it. She has on slacks and her shoes are off by the door, and she's got on these thick, heavy black socks. And you watch as she's turning pages, her toes just wiggling in concentration. I can feel you watching me.
I kind of gently nudge the back of her head with my foot. There's no way that you knew that.
It's a sense. I can feel it.
You stop being boring and pay attention to me.
You're also reading.
I don't really want to do that anymore. Joe kind of flips around on the bed so that her face is close to Mel's face.
She is adamantly not looking at you, eyes still trained on the book.
What are you even reading about? Oh, maths. You don't need this.
I think it's actually quite important.
I could just teach you everything you could possibly want to know.
Then why aren't they paying you to teach here?
They should. I mean, I'm much smarter than Professor Moore.
She closes the book and, leans her neck back against the bed, her head kind of rolling over, so she's looking at you. You're quite the distraction. I knew coming over here to study was the wrong choice.
Is that really why you invited me over?
I think that the way I remember it is you asking after class the other day if we could study together this weekend.
You're right. This is all my fault. How am I going to make it up to you?
I could think of a couple ways.
Jo looks at her huge brown eyes, lit up by the sun, her curly hair like a halo around her, and just thinks that Mel looks so beautiful. And she tells her, "You really are stunningly beautiful. You know that."
Oh. And she readjusts herself a little bit so she's back a bit straighter against the edge of the bed. Takes the book off her lap and puts it on the floor. I don't know if... Well, thank you.
There's no way you don't know. You do own a mirror.
Okay, but when you look in the mirror, do you say that to yourself as well?
I tend to avoid mirrors when I can. Not really a pastime of mine, although if I had your face and those eyes, I would definitely spend a lot more time doing it.
I don't really think I'd want you to have my face.
No?
Because I like what I'm looking at.
Perfect. We'll just get rid of all of our mirrors and stare at each other all day.
Forever?
I'd be happy with that.
Are you thinking of the future? You never do that.
You've caught me. I don't know. I think I could maybe do 1 week, maybe a fortnight into the future. But that's really stretching it for me.
1 week. Let's do it. And she gets up off the floor and she goes over to the wall where you have a small hanging mirror, and she takes it down and turns it around and sets it on the floor. There we go. 1 down. The rest in the world to go.
Jo hops off of the bed and goes over and takes Mel's face between her hands and looks down at her. Perfect.
You hear a note. Grabs your attention. You feel this gooey ichor on your fingers as Mel's face begins to drip, falling down until it's blank, faceless. And the room and the colors snap into a small point in front of you and it disappears. Mama Amaretta, you stand with your family and listen to this harpist begin. There's a young woman, one of the oldest, probably 18. The harp carried on by a stagehand. She has a stool, a couple notes elongated, drawn out, reverberating off of the high ceiling. Sweet. She doesn't look at the audience. She's concentrated on her performance. And it begins slow, peaceful, if not melancholic. And then you hear a scream, high-pitched, then one low-pitched, a glass shattering on the floor, a tray clattering, gasps and turning of heads. The doors that you came through slam shut, and around the room, next to you, people are frozen. Andreas has moved, shifting his attention to his daughter, who is stock still, mouth hanging open. You see your own children, Yarrow glassy-eyed, Zion with an uptick to his lip like he's about to smile. You see JJ staring emptily at the stage, Arthur behind her, a faraway look in his eyes. Farther back in the room, You see Joe being held up by Jack as if they had been dancing, but now 2 motionless bodies. There's movement of people trying to figure out what is happening, touching these frozen stock-still individuals, and there doesn't seem to be a response from any of them.
Is it all young folks?
It is all younger individuals, though no one too young, no one too old. Everyone, as you look around, seems to be JJ and Joe's age, so, 20s.
Can I make a connection that perhaps the harp music to some degree might be causing this?
I think that with your investigative nature, yes.
Amaretta's gonna tell Andres, she goes, I think we need to stop the music right now.
His eyes kind of widen, pull away from Everly's face, and he nods at you. You see that the host, Rosalind Glynn, is running up the steps on the stage, and that's when you hear this very off note come out of the harpist playing, and you see Zion and Yarrow next to you kind of come back to their senses. Andreas has followed Rosalind up onto the stage. The harpist, at the commotion of people coming up during her performance, has stopped and playing and is looking around shocked. The host grabs the microphone at the front of the stage and says, "Everybody, please stay calm. We're going to take a little break from the show." And it looks like she wants to say more, but she doesn't know how to or what to say. Andreas kind of gestures for the harpist to get up and gets her off the stage. JJ and Joe, you come back into the present moment. Jack almost drops you as she also comes back, but catches and stabilizes and lifts you both back up to normal standing. Arthur, behind JJ, just has tears streaking down his face.
JJ looks similar.
I think Amaretta might also inform Andreas that she wants to take a look at that harp specifically, so if they can keep that on stage for the time being. But before she investigates that, she wants to check in on all of her kids.
Arthur drops his hands from your shoulders. Did you see that too?
Did you see that?
What
did you see?
Something that I had kind of forgotten about. And now want to forget.
I saw something, try as I might, I can't forget. I'm so sorry I brought you. I don't know what just happened.
It's not your fault.
You shouldn't. I need to find... I think I'm going to look up, how does Zion look?
Extremely confused, you see that his jaw has clenched very tightly, and he does have on a new clean black shirt and red trousers. He looks not as dressed up as everybody, but way better than he looked upon arrival.
Does he look upset?
Honestly, he looks angry.
JJ is going to, try to catch his glance, and if they can't get it, almost, grab on, the shirt sleeve, and just be like, what happened? Are you okay?
There's a struggle for him to find the words he wants, so he settles for, "I'm fine. Are you okay?"
I think JJ will, take a minute and just, yeah, honestly, it was, did it happen to everyone?
Don't know. Mama, are you okay?
Mama Amaretta will nod, and she'll go, I'm alright, I'm more worried about y'all, frankly. It only seemed to affect, younger folk, so I didn't see whatever y'all saw, but whatever it was, seems to not been pleasant for anyone. It's with that music, so I'm gonna try and figure out what the heck that is.
Oh, I didn't see anything. It was just... I didn't see anything.
I need you to roll me the mask.
That is a 7 plus 1, so an 8.
They give you the benefit of the doubt and remain convinced even if there is some evidence of your lie.
The evidence being me saying, I saw something. No, I didn't. Just kidding.
Takes a second to actually, look at you fully. Alright, well, good. I'm glad you didn't see that.
It was just so scary to be, just stuck. But, what? Joe.
When Joe first comes to and finds Jack with her arms around her, supporting her, she kind of instinctually not pushes her away, but gets out of her grasp immediately.
As you do that, she very easily, quickly lets you go and takes a couple steps back herself.
Joe isn't actively crying, but it's definitely right there, thick in her throat. You don't have to comfort me. I'm not a child.
Yeah, I need a moment.
Yeah, why don't you take one?
Jack turns to go towards the doors that you guys entered from. And as you watch her walk away, you see that they're closed, and you see that there are people trying to open them, and they can't.
Joe looks for JJ and Mama and approaches them with a very quick stride. Are they keeping us here?
Doors were locked as soon as the performance started, so something's going on.
Performance? What sort of harp is that?
Pulled it aside so we can get a closer look at it. Figured it was really strange, or maybe the harpist itself might be strange.
Strange is one word. Is everyone all right?
Yeah, are you?
Oh, I'm fine, yes.
I've been better, Yarrow says.
Sorry to hear that. Whatever this is, they will not get away with it.
Maybe it wasn't... we don't even know if it was on... No, never mind. It was on purpose.
There are stories about music and sending people to places and all of that, but never heard it happening in real life.
I don't like it. Something about this all just feels too planned.
No, it is definitely planned. That's what I'm trying to figure out, is who planned it and why.
Can we look at it?
Yes.
Maybe it was just performance art. Maybe it was intentional, but they didn't think through all the ramifications.
We can look at the harp. Maybe someone might want to talk to the harpist, too.
All right. Is she here? Has anyone seen her?
Mama Amaretta, you watched Andreas take her off the stage and over to where there's a small curtained off area where the performers are waiting to go on, and you didn't see her come out of there yet.
Someone should tell the performers that they'll be waiting a while.
I think performers might be aware of that.
I don't know, they're backstage. Maybe they didn't hear it, or maybe they did and they're in the same... What can I gather from the crowd around me?
People are in many different states of shock, horror, grief. There are complete and utter breakdowns. There are more people like Zion, but there are not a lot of people here on the younger side outside of the people that you guys actually know. There's just a few others. So most of the people in the room saw it happen. And you see now that the doors have been shut, people are freaking out about that. There's a lot of chatter happening. Panic.
There has to be another way out of here. There has to be emergency exits. In the back, at least with the performers, there's a lot of things that are happening.
She's back there. Let's go. Let's just go talk to her before she gets swarmed by enforcers or whoever.
Sounds good. Mama's gonna reach out to her kids' hands and give them a gentle but strong squeeze. Just, because she can't necessarily hug them in this moment because now she has work to do, but she does want to hug them and basically tell them everything's gonna be okay, but she'll settle with squeezing their hands and giving them a look that portrays as much of that as it can.
Zion says, yeah, I'm gonna go see if I can help with the door situation. Yarrow says, actually, Arthur, I have a question for you, and kind of pulls Arthur away.
Before Zion can walk away, JJ's gonna go, wait, and then just like jump into a hug and just be like, I'm glad that you're okay, even if you aren't fine.
He hugs you back. It's like his entire body envelops you in this hug.
You look nice. And then JJ will like step out of the hug and be like, okay, work to do.
You leave Everly and Gwendolyn to their own devices. You head back along the side of the stage where you saw the performers coming up and you saw Andreas go. You find that there's this little curtained off segment, so it's still in the same room. You're not in a separate room, but it's this curtained off segment. You hear the chatter of younger individuals. You also hear Andreas's voice as you get closer, and then when you come up, you see that the harpist is now sitting in a chair, and he's on one knee, leaning on the other, chatting with her as quietly as he can.
Amaretta will kind of approach her brother and the girl and just say, hey, you feeling alright? She'll ask the harpist, because she has no clue if the harpist was even affected by this somehow.
When she was on stage, it looked like she continued to play as all of that happened, so you don't think that she was affected by it. She looks up at you as you approach, and she says, what happened?
Well, I'm just asking if anything happened to you, because a lot of young people seemed affected by something.
I don't know what happened.
I have a question about that song, if you don't mind my asking. Did you compose that?
No, just a piece I learned.
Joe comes up behind Mama and kind of like lowers a little bit to the girl's level. And who told it to you?
There was a lot of pieces that I thought about playing tonight, and I worked on with my teachers. I just chose this one.
And this hasn't happened before?
I don't really know what happened. There's noises, and I stopped playing.
Joe sort of softens when she sees that the little girl is scared. You're not in trouble. Not with us. We're just trying to figure out what's going on.
I'm sorry if I did anything I didn't mean to.
We know. We know that.
Can I figure this person out?
Roll 2d6 plus your wit.
That's a 9. How could I get you to possibly give me a copy of this composition?
I had to memorize it, but I have it at my home. Wait, actually, hold on. And she stands up, and Andreas kind of backs up a little bit and also stands. My teacher's here, and she might have a copy with her, just in case for an emergency. I can go check.
Actually, we'll come with you. I would love to meet your teacher.
Oh, okay. And as she starts to lead you around the curtain, you see this individual walking towards the curtain. She's an older woman, probably in her 70s. She has graying blonde hair up in this Edwardian bun, and she looks concerned, and she's walking at a fast pace. And when the girl comes around the side of the curtain, she holds her arms out, and the girl kind of runs into them. And you just see her kind of pet the top of the girl's head. These people were wondering if we had a copy of the piece that I was playing. Did you bring one? The woman has a little purse hanging off of her arm, and she says, actually, I do. I can give it for you. And she opens up the clasp on the purse and reaches in, and there's a folded up into fourths sheets of paper, and she hands them over to you.
Amaretta will take them and say, thank you so much, ma'am, and I'm real sorry about what's unfolding right now. It must be, well, Everyone must be feeling some type of way about what's going on, but thank you for your help. Hopefully it'll help us figure out what the heck happened.
Of course, I just wish that we could get the doors open. Not really sure what's happening.
Really can't be holding everyone here like this. Excuse me, what is your name?
My name is Theodosa.
Theodosa? Joe? Nice to meet you. Has this ever happened before with any of your other students?
Like I said, I don't really know what happened. I can't say that I have ever seen this before.
Right.
Do you know how I could get a harp like yours?
Oh, that's not my harp.
Whose is it?
It was provided from the night. I couldn't really carry the one that I usually play on across the city.
Who provided it?
She looks up at Theodosia and she says, I don't know specifically. I was just told by the event organizers that there would be one here for her to play on.
Alright, well, thank y'all for the information. Let's get to work on opening up that door for folks. I have a feeling that might be the least of our problems.
Right. Well?
You see that there are like 3 to 4 different people on both sides, like trying to rip the hinges back, but the door isn't moving at all. Like there's not even a little give.
Joe definitely kicks the doors with her boot.
As you kick it, Zion looks at you and says, "It opens in." That's not really going to help the situation.
Joe looks just slightly embarrassed because it's Zion. Well, I had to try.
Of course.
JJ's gonna try to slink away to look for a different exit. Like if there's somewhere, a window.
The windows specifically are the one very large circular one that's behind the stage. Otherwise, it's the skylights. There aren't windows on the other walls.
JJ will pick up something heavy and throw it at the big circle window.
What's something heavy?
A tuba.
You hear this clatter, this smash, and everybody turns to look at you as you're standing on the stage tossing this musical instrument against the window. You watch it hit, bounce off, and you see a circular little crack that has formed, but hasn't broken through the glass. Many individuals who are dressed in employee outfits begin to come towards the stage. Excuse me, please don't, you need to come down here. You need to come down off the stage right now.
JJ's gonna panic and throw something else at it.
You pick the tuba up and you throw it again, and it hits a different part of the window and it does the same thing. These people are now like, okay, you really need to come down, and they're starting to come up on the stage and trying to get you down off of the stage.
I think as someone reaches her, JJ will just be like, what happened? My head.
You pretend that you are like just coming out of this state that everybody else had been in. Oh, I'm so sorry. Come here. And he pulls over the bench that was behind the piano and pulls it up and goes, please, sit down. Take a rest. Let me get you some water. And you find that the seat that you have been sat down on is right next to the harp.
Can I inspect the harp?
The harp looks like a harp. You get up close to it. It's very beautifully carved and engraved. You look through the strings, and that's when you notice all the strings look the same. They're, a thin filament, except for one. And when your finger touches it, it's a lot stiffer. It doesn't really bend and move that well. And getting up close, you see that the other ones are like a white or off-white type of color. This is a yellowish crystal that is in the form of a string.
Is there any, name or anything on the harp anywhere? Like a brand or a...
There's a name at the very, very bottom, Septimus. It is engraved like it is the name of the company that makes the instrument.
JJ will go back to being pretend sick on the bench.
If there's a balcony, possibly going up to a balcony, seeing if I can go outside and see if the door was barred in any possible way, because then that says people were waiting outside. And that says, oh, what? That means someone's waiting for this performance to happen specifically.
You're walking through the space. There are a couple doors and things, but they're not see-through, so you don't know where they lead to, I should say. But as you make your way back into the part that is a gallery, not that you had come back here before, but something is wrong. Every single painting is ruined. Colors dripping down the canvas, splattered on the wall and the floor below where they are hanging. Every single one, except for this abstract garden scene. And in this part of the gallery, there is a door that is glass paneled that looks like it leads out into the main foyer when you guys walked up the stairs.
Amaretta is going to immediately notify probably the host of the event, because they're going to need to know, and whatever higher-ups in this building, she's going to notify them, but also she might say, take the time to block it off for just a little bit and see what I can find here before we let people pass through this exit. Because we're going to lose whatever evidence is through as soon as we let people start passing through here.
As you notify Rosalind about this and she walks back into this gallery, she stifles a scream upon seeing the ruined pieces, absolutely shocked by this new revelation. I've never seen anything like this. The night is ruined.
Makes me think that performance and those doors being locked was just a distraction.
I don't know what is happening this evening, and I would like to find out. But, unfortunately, there are no phones inside of this room for us to call the outside and call the enforcers down here. So until we can get those doors open, we are stuck.
Well, lucky for you, I actually happen to be a private investigator. So I can take some time right now, see what evidence we got. Because people are looking for a way out, so we can try and gather up what evidence we got now, and let people safely evacuate the building.
Well, that is the only plan that has been offered at this time, and I will so willingly take it.
Alright, well, let's focus on keeping folks calm, get them sit down, get them some drinks, and then we'll let them know investigation is underway.
Do you mind? What is your name?
You can just call me Mama Moretta.
Okay. Nice to meet you, I guess. Thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm the sister of, Andres.
Oh, he is just wonderful.
Right?
Absolutely stunning performer.
It's been certainly a gift growing up with him, although he didn't always sound as pretty as he does now.
Well, let me make an announcement about trying to get everyone calm. We can see what's to do from there.
Offering a few drinks might help some folks, at least settle for a little bit.
It'll be an open bar now, I suppose. And she turns and walks back into the larger performance space. You hear rumbling from the mic, and then you hear Rosalind be like, okay, everyone, if you could just please try to stay calm. We are working on a fix of this situation currently, but we are going to open up the bar for you all to have a drink or two as we wait to get these doors open for everyone. And, maybe, and she looks over to the band that has been off the stage, we could get, a little music to calm the nerves as well? Thank you. So please, everyone, we'll have you out of here in no time.
Joe is still at the door, has done various body parts hitting against the doors. She tries to peer between the doors.
You can see a faint bit of light from the outside hallway, but it's a very small crack.
I think Joe looks to Zion and is like, give me some space for a moment. And then she takes out her little rapier and slides it between the doors under where the handles are, and then like slides it up to kind of test and see if there's like a bar or just to feel how it's locked.
You slide the rapier down towards the lock. You don't hit anything until you hit the lock.
So it's not like barred with anything else. And she also doesn't hit anything on the other side, so there isn't like a large object or anything in the way. It's just locked. Jo's pretty good at that. So she takes her sword out from between the doors, inspects it for a second to make sure it's unharmed, sheaths it, and then she unscrews an earring from the top of her ear that has a little like long spike sticking out of it, and she tries to pick the lock.
You feel the lock click that you've succeeded. The handle turns. The door does not open.
When that happens, Jo kind of like takes a step back and is very unnerved. And she looks to Zion. The door's unlocked. I unlocked it. There's nothing in the way. It won't open.
He looks up at it and walks back a few steps. Well, we couldn't break through it. Could unlock it. I don't have an answer. It's weird. Feels like a word that's not really summing it up quite enough.
Yeah. Weird. Freakish. Unexplainable. These people are only going to be placated for so long. We could have a really dangerous situation on our hands if we can't get them out of here.
And I assume, and like looks over what you're wearing, you don't have some sort of fun gadget hidden anywhere that could help with the situation.
I mean, I do have this. She twists one of her rings so that there's like a little opening on it. It sort of can burn through things, but only like 2 centimeters or so. Won't go through the door.
Well, don't touch me with that, actually. Now that I know it's on. Stay a few feet away from me.
All right. Don't get your knickers in a twist.
And he kind of grabs the handle and rips one more time, and nothing. We've got to figure out a way to get through this thing. Maybe there's something in here. I'm gonna go look. And he kind of like walks towards the bar area.
Jo sees JJ heading her way and strides over to meet her. What is it? Did you find anything?
I found the harp.
Oh, great. Good.
There's a crystal on it. It's yellow and it's one of the strings. And it was made by Septimus.
Okay, well, Septimus is a very normal music company. I don't think they would have anything to do with making a crystal string. Are you sure?
Yeah. It's on stage. They're letting anyone up there right now.
You see that there are now security, quote unquote, standing around the stage to block anybody from doing the same thing that JJ did.
Perfect. And I'm assuming that that's your fault now. Great.
Well, I don't see any of the doors open, so at least I was trying something, and I found the harp.
I picked the lock, okay? It's not my fault that there's something...
Oh, let me go open the door! We got as much done as each other.
I want to trip her.
As JJ starts to walk away, Jo sticks her leg out. JJ starts to fall, reaches out, grabs onto Jo's top.
As JJ grabs onto my shirt and falls to the ground, since she is so much smaller than me, it doesn't actually completely throw me off balance. It just rips my shirt open to an indecent level.
I'm grabbing your leg and pulling you down, then. Can I then roll to figure out a person during a physical conflict?
It's 2d6 plus your wit.
Oh, I have several strings on Jo, but I got a 7. What is your problem with me? What do you want me to be that won't piss you off right now?
Jo, shakes her leg out of JJ's grasp and leans down with like true annoyance and says, "A grown-up," and straightens up and like tries to adjust her blouse.
How could I get you to stop hating me?
Joe looks at her, lets out like a frustrated breath, and says, "I don't hate you. You are annoying me. Can we just figure this out, please, and help people?"
I think JJ will finally like stand up from the floor. That's what I was trying to do. And someone tripped me.
After you cause a huge commotion
go
throwing
find Mama.
instruments at the wall, fine, go find her. We need her help, obviously.
Pardon the interruption, but here's another show we think you'd like.
The Badlands. A truly God-forsaken place. You'd have to be crazy to leave the safety of Threed for its sands. Legend has it that beneath this blighted earth, something truly powerful lies dormant, calling out to any traveler brave or desperate enough to listen. One day, aboard a doomed train into the wastes, 3 strangers heed that call. A shape-shifting bounty hunter,
Strange has gone by many names, friend.
a runaway socialite,
Okay, girl, well, you just did your mascara, so no more crying for today.
and a former thief turned family man.
I promise that I will be back, and I will do my absolute best to right you.
Will our runaways find what they're looking for?
I mean, we're already here, let's have a little fun.
You really went in there, guns blazing.
I thought that was the plan!
My potions are miraculous.
I thought we were being quiet.
Oh, Stump only has 1 volume, sorry.
Wild roses grow out of his mouth, having filled his lungs.
What's happening out there?
Violence.
Find out on Mage Hand High Five, the Badlands. And just between you and me, they ain't got a chance in hell.
You can find the links to this show in the description box below.
I'm gonna be looking for some clues about what the heck happened. Check out the side entrance first, see any point of entry. You know what I have probably on hand is a little bit of blush. A little bit of powder blush and some makeup, and then I'll start dusting for some prints using some blush.
You go over to the door, and it isn't locked, but it's also not opening. Unfortunately, when you put the powder dust on the door, there are a lot of fingerprints all overlapping one another. Seems to be a fairly used entrance and exit way.
What about the pieces that are damaged, like all around there, like footprints too, on the areas where someone would have had to get close enough to do the damages that were done?
You go up to them, you see that there's like a line on the floor where people are not supposed to walk. And as you're kind of sprinkling some powder to see if you can get any tracks, you see that there are what looks like maybe boot prints ever so often along that part of it. And also, I think you can tell that the ruination, the paint that's dripping down these canvases, wasn't poured across them. It looks like the paint that settled into the canvas like started leaking out of it. But the weird thing is, there's a lot more paint dripping than seems would have settled in that fabric.
She might try and get some like eyebrow tweezers and pluck at it with that.
As you do that, it's still newly wet, and also the eyebrow tweezers like pick up little grainy pieces within the paint.
Can I get a closer look at these grainy pieces perhaps and see if it's like that yellow crystal maybe?
You kind of spread them out a little bit, and you like try to wipe as much of this dark paint off of a piece. It's hard because they're really small, but you see like finely powdered yellow crystal shards.
Well, I'm definitely gonna keep a little piece of these crystals. Either the crystals were mixed in with the paint, which is entirely possible, or it was mixed in with a varnish, and someone had to have provided that paint to all those people. Is there any other things, like, beyond, like, the boot tracks that I saw, like, going past the line?
The floor is pretty clear on that part.
Knowing that, can I maybe check the door also for this yellow crystal and see if that's what's causing the lock?
You go over there and you inspect the door closer, but you don't find any remnants of the yellow crystal in that. You hear, as you're looking at the door, you hear, "Oh, well that doesn't look good." And you turn around and Yarrow is standing there with Arthur and with this other individual, this tall, lanky person who seems to have more limb than body. They're wearing a light blue suit with pink ruffled shirt underneath, and their hair is short and bleached, and their eyes blink, and you see that they're reminiscent of felines. As you kind of turn at the voice, Yarrow says, "Mama, I wanted to introduce you to somebody." Arthur says, "Yes, this is Professor Marlowe. They were one of my professors at Arcadia. I took their class about the... Well, Professor Marlowe, can you just explain to her what you were saying to me?" "Well, as I was saying, in order for crystals to affect us biologically and or chemically, they would have to be refined beyond what we've ever done to them before, and it would have to be in a very condensed form, most likely over time. There aren't any known psychological effects of crystals. They are used for energy, power, and fortification. They are tools."
Well, you might want to take a look at this then, Professor Marlowe. And she'll hold up that tiny little crystal. "Found this in paint. I think someone was trying to mix something in with this paint or varnish. I'm not quite sure, I ain't a painter. But you think this might affect some things?"
They get up fairly close and bring out a little eyeglass from a pocket in their suit, and they hold it up and they look and they say, "Well, that is quite small, but I don't know how that would have gotten into people's bodies if it was in the paint, and that is the only way I think I have concluded that the crystals could have been the problem."
Is it possible that sound entering through someone's body is a way to affect it?
To be honest, that is not something that I have ever given much thought to. I don't know necessarily how that would even be possible, but I can't rule it out either. As I said, I haven't had any experimentation of the sort.
I'm gonna need to find out who supplied the paint to these painters, because clearly they had access to this material and decided to distribute it in such a way. Which is interesting, and also this side door is not opening up neither, which tells me that there might be something, maybe a magnet?
Well, if it's tech, we can fix that problem.
Well, I ain't no techie, so I couldn't tell you whether or not it's tech or some other strange phenomena.
I can look at it. And Arthur goes over to start inspecting the door. And Yara says, "My original thought was some sort of mass hallucination. But I don't think that there would have been any way for... Well, again, Professor Marlowe kind of concluded that my observation may not have been the case either. I'd assumed that maybe there was something in the champagne, but as they pointed out, it only affected certain people. Well, also, drugs cut with crystals have still not been proven to have any significant differing effects than the drugs without the crystals. The danger is more of the ingesting of the crystals in the first place. So, I don't think my first observation is probably the way it goes. This is definitely more evidence than I had."
Well, I mean, I just happened to stumble across this scene and got lucky, I suppose, given the circumstances, but I think you might be onto something. It certainly affected people, and, well, I don't know what people saw, because no one's really telling me what the heck they all saw, but I'm trying to see if there was something common in those visions. Perhaps that might lead us a certain direction, but I'd need more stories.
It was the easiest way to put it was like a dream that turned into a nightmare very swiftly. A memory playing out again. That's probably why people don't want to discuss it very much.
Well, I guess then maybe I can ask without pressing too many details, what happened when you knew the dream turned into a nightmare?
Well, in what I saw, we were all at home. All of us were there. You, Zion, your brothers, my cousin, Dad. And then, well, to say it succinctly, all of your faces melted. So, ruined a memory is kind of what happened, I think.
So she's making the connection, okay, memories are melted, paintings are melted. And there's only one painting standing, right? What's the title of the painting?
It actually just says number 7 of Garden Scenes, artist Ruth Ames.
I don't understand. Well, I mean, I guess I can only guess this painting wasn't mixed in with whatever kind of paint this was.
No, that painting was not made for this event. That painting hangs here all the time.
So someone's trying to ruin the event.
They've succeeded, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to figure out what kind of folks we got that would want to ruin this type of thing. I also need to take a look at that harp real quick.
Arthur comes back over and kind of pats his hands off. I didn't see any tinkering that happened to the door. I didn't find any extra parts of what I could see. Nothing added, nothing taken away.
So why keep us here after damaging this whole evening? I don't like that.
Does this happen to you a lot? The being stuck in situations?
I mean, I've certainly got myself into unusual circumstances. I'm just in a work mode right now, and if I was not in a work mode, I would be reacting appropriately to the situation before me.
Okay, I just wanted to check because you all seem... I mean, I guess I know what you do, but you all just seem very on top of things. And I'm kind of freaking out, and the only way that I was avoiding freaking out was coming up with theories, so...
You'd be a great detective. That's how we usually deal with things.
I don't know if this is the life for me. I miss my workshop right about now.
I mean, you can take a look at this, and she'll hand Arthur some of these tiny little bit of crystals so that he can maybe reverse engineer what it might have been for and why, and she'll inform him, oh, I found this in the paint. And then she might head off to go and check out that harp again. I'm trying to think, maybe I can try and ask the director if maybe there's like any mechanisms on the door that would force entry shut like this.
She is in the process of handing out drinks to a few people, and she says, well, we knew of the exits, the large entrance where everyone came in, the one in the gallery. There is an emergency stairwell through that door, and she points behind the bar. Those are the 3 exits that I'm aware of in this room. As for the paint, I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you that. They've painted these and brought them to us to showcase. It wasn't something we prepared for them.
Guess she'll try and follow up with one of the painters and ask where they got their paint from.
She can direct you to one of them who is this 11-year-old boy with his parents. They're all looking a little bit nervous, and you go up to them, and one of the parents kind of steps in front of them and says, Hi.
Hi. I just have a few questions about what's going on. It's just part of the procedure at the moment. We're trying to figure things out. May I ask what paint y'all used for your work?
The kid sniffles and wipes his nose on the back of his hand. Just the paint from the craft store. It's good paint, though.
Do you know what company it's from, honey?
I think it starts with a G. It's like comes in like little tubes. It's the one on Lothan Street, if that helps.
That helps a lot. She'll walk off to go and try and touch base with her associates, see what they found.
The harp has a crystal string on it.
Also, the gallery is so someone mixed the paint with the same material on that string, and it all melty. Much like what I heard happened to some folks and what they saw, so.
Oh, you know what people saw? What did they see?
Well, I got part of a description, but the one thing that stood out to me the most was a pleasant memory slowly melting away in a horrific manner.
That sounds awful. I can't even imagine.
I'm sure you cannot imagine at all, JJ. Yeah, I'm sure you have no clue.
And JJ will do a narrow eye, have I been found out? If I have, I don't care to know. I'm gonna ignore it.
You guys see, both of you, walking past is Zion with an axe over his shoulders.
Finally, someone gets it. Where are you going? It's back. You're walking.
Just be sure to just not get in too much trouble for potential property damage.
Where are you taking it?
The door doesn't budge, so I thought that I would hack through it.
The window is actually very easy to damage.
JJ, the problem with the window is we can't get people out that way.
There's a stage. Do you know how much rope there is? And we only need one person to go down to
I also do have a feeling that the door replacement might be less expensive than the massive glass window.
Well, they might already have to replace it.
I just think that I'm gonna try it, alright?
I think in an emergency you can break the windows, but go ahead and try the door.
Maybe try one of the side doors first so you don't freak people out by knocking it down. That might end up causing a commotion, and that can get dangerous.
Alright, Mama, I'll do that.
I'll come with. It might be dangerous.
You follow Zion back the way he kind of come around the bar where there is just a blank wooden door, and he lifts it and brings it down, and the axe pierces the wood.
JJ took a very, the kid that's no, I'll supervise, kind of stance. JJ's, kind of smugly, we're gonna, okay, yeah, try to break down the door. And then as soon as it, goes through, JJ's, mouth turns into, a flat line. Okay, maybe you were right. Then he, pulls it back again, and JJ's okay, I'm okay with being wrong. That's okay.
He, flips it so the head of the axe is downwards and, puts his foot on top of it to hold it, and then slowly unbuttons his sleeve and rolls them up, and then picks it up and goes for it again. You see a hole start to form where the axe is cutting through it.
I think a few more swings, and if you really... yeah, just a couple more.
That anger that he had after seeing the memory starts to come out, and he doesn't respond to you, and you just hear these angry, forceful grunts as he slams the axe into the door harder now, with more force, more anger. He's just until it breaks through enough that he tries to fit a hand through and reach down to the lock or the handle on the opposite side. He twists it, and he can't pull the door open.
How big is the hole?
It was enough for him to, like, get his arm in there. You'd have to make it bigger if you were going to try to get through it.
Would I need the axe to continue breaking the door, or does it look like something I can start?
I mean, you could start trying to rip. It would be easier with the axe.
I'm gonna put my hand on his shoulder.
Kind of like jumps as you touch him. Sorry.
No. Thank you. You got it halfway. Could I try for a minute? I think I could be able to squeeze through if you just give me a minute to pull at it.
Have at it. And he hands you the axe.
I think JJ tries to, like, swing the axe and, like, goes off balance.
He doesn't come up and actually take your arm in to help you, but he does say, try, like, raising your elbow a little higher, and then the downswing will be easier.
JJ's physical strength is not their, like, best stat.
Do you want me to finish it?
JJ is a very proud person, and so JJ will be like, could you just hold this? And then I'm gonna try to just, like, pull.
I think that there's no way that Joe hasn't noticed what the fuck is going on at this point and has come over to them and is like, I do think the axe is more effective.
JJ is going to ignore her and keep trying.
You notice that your hands are getting cut on splinters as you rip into this, and you can pull away, like, a little bit, and the top, like, cracks off.
In an exact replica of Joe's moment earlier, JJ takes a step back and kicks the door.
And wood goes splintering forward, bursting out. And you've definitely created another hole.
Can I try to kick the thing in between, like the in between, to make it big enough to slide through?
It takes you a couple tries, but you can kick some pieces out, and it looks like you would be able to, like, squeeze through it. Your puffy dress, though, might get you caught a little bit. Joe's shirt is ripped open. Zion notices and says, got a little hole there.
Yes, I'm aware.
Couldn't do anything about it.
She reaches for the axe and says, nope, and takes it out of his hands and says, JJ, you don't want to be on the other side of this, I don't think.
If you swing, that's your problem. And then JJ's gonna turn over her shoulder and go, axes are for pussies.
Your dress is snagging on the sides of the broken wood. If you want to, like, rip through it, you can try, but it'll rip your dress.
JJ just needs to prove Joe wrong in this moment.
The puffiest part on your front and back rips sideways and across, and so you are left with, like, the sides hanging, but a very short, like, skirt in the front now.
Am I outside?
You passed through the door. You are at the top of a stairwell.
There's a stairwell.
Thank you, JJ.
You're welcome, Joe.
In order to make this more useful for the people that we are trying to help, we need to make this hole a little bigger. So
I'm gonna go explore the stairs then.
And in between, like, swings, she says, you do that.
Zion has crossed his arms over his chest and is leaning against the wall and watching you tear into this door, everybody getting their anger out through physical movement. And he says, so, what's going on there?
She's being particularly irritating.
Seems rather normal to me.
Perhaps I'm just not equipped to be patient tonight.
I don't know what you saw, but not JJ's fault.
Joe, like, yanks the axe out of the door after a particularly hard swing. I know. She says she didn't see anything, but I know she did. And you did.
I did.
Really, that sort of power scares me. Never heard of anything like it.
This calmish demeanor is just for show. Everybody here is scared and panicked, me included. I just can't do anything about it if I'm freaking out. So, I'll deal with it later.
Exactly. I would just prefer to deal with it by myself, in my apartment. With a bottle, perhaps? Not here.
Then don't yell at the only people who are trying to get us out of here.
You're a much better person than I am, Zion.
I don't think I'm better. Different, though.
More patient.
Well, that's not a virtue that everybody has.
Joe, half grins. You're not wrong about that. She swings the axe and hits it one more time against the door. Joe kind of half sticks her body through to check, considering that she's quite tall, and is like, all right, I think this could possibly be a way. We need to do this in an organized way. We can't have a stampede.
Right. JJ, did you find anything? Zion kind of calls down the stairs. The stairwell is lit by a couple little lanterns on the wall, and it looks kind of just like a back entrance, for employees to use, for things to be brought up. So when you get to the bottom of the stairwell, you find yourself in a little storage room, and you can see through another door that it looks to be like a kitchen beyond that. You're in a large kitchen here, so there's another door out of the kitchen, and you do see a couple people actively working. You see plating food.
Oh my gosh, this was so much easier than I thought it would be. Everyone is currently trapped upstairs.
Pardon me?
All of the doors are stuck, closed, except for a door that we just busted through. Could you show me where the other doors are so we can figure out how to open them? Everyone's fine.
The door to the kitchen's right there. You can use that to get out.
That one. Yeah, but if we can get more doors open, it'll just be easier because there's a lot of people, and if we're moving them all through one small exit. Also, we're trying to figure out who locked us all up there. And then some people, not me, but some other people got hypnotized by a harp. And then they saw, really...
If you go through that door, you're going to be in a hallway. And if you go all the way to the end of the hallway, there's going to be a door on your right. And that'll get you out into the enclave next to the lobby. And then you'll be in the lobby.
Thank you so much. Can I just... And then she's going to grab one of the little, hors d'oeuvres and just be like, these are so good. Thank you so much. If a he's really muscular, he's wearing a black shirt, his hair's a little messed up, but in a good way. And then if he comes through, let him know where I went. There might be someone with him.
Alright, well, that's not really great. I'm gonna go check it out, too.
Alright, should I keep people from finding this? Should I start to get them through the door? Should I...
Maybe talk to, what's her name? Who was kind of in charge of everything?
Right, yes. Right, Rosalind?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Rosalind, okay. Sure, great. Be safe, please, and be safe.
He kind of pushes his way through the door, and you watch him disappear down the steps.
I sort of come around so that I can see the whole room, and I scan the room for Mama.
You see her finishing up a conversation with a young boy and his parents.
I do a little whistle that she should know is me.
That'll catch Mom's attention, and she'll catch Joe's gaze.
Joe kind of nods her head back towards the door.
She'll start to walk over and check out to what Joe is gesturing to.
So, we did do this.
Well, I suppose it's better than nothing right now.
It was Zion's idea. I want to make that clear.
I mean, I saw him carrying the axe, yeah.
And JJ went through it. I don't know where she went. Zion went to find her. I just don't want anything to happen with the crowd. I think that could be a panic, but we should start getting people out as soon as we can.
I'll let the director know, and I think the director will choose who gets to evacuate first. Emerald will go and find Rosalind. Hi. So, sometimes desperate calls call for desperate measures. And so, one of your doors is going to need to be repaired as we try and find a more appropriate exit, but right now this is the best we could have gotten. It is small.
I am not concerned about replacing a door, thank you.
Right, well, it's small, so you might want to do it slowly, bit by bit, for now, up until we find other ways to open up doors. But I recommend probably getting kids and their families out first.
That is what I was thinking. I shall begin organizing our little escape.
I'm sorry for how everything turned out, but I really do appreciate you helping us.
You're the ones doing all of the work.
Well, it's part of my job. And she'll go and try and find Arthur and Professor Marlowe so they can go and inspect the string on the harp themselves.
Immediately, Joe goes to the harp. And is there anything that Joe would recognize that the other two would not?
Doesn't look like there any hacking has been done to this outside of the addition of this crystal. JJ, you come out through the doors, you find yourself back in the lobby, and you see that there's like kind of a commotion out here too of employees who are trying to figure out a solution because they've realized that something is happening inside. You hear someone say that somebody has called the enforcers. You can go up the stairs and you see that from that side you can't pull the door open either. And you see this one individual who is wearing like a all the way buttoned up polo shirt. I already tried that. Didn't work.
I helped bust down a door from inside. So if we cut them or like somehow bring like tools, I think it's like the edges that aren't moving, because we made a big hole right in the middle.
Well, okay. I mean, these doors are pretty big. Seem pretty heavy.
There has to be a chainsaw in here. It's a theater.
I don't actually... Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't work here.
Oh, I thought with the whole...
No. With the whole what?
The whole, like, how you came up to me and you had so much confidence about, like, knowing what things were. You have a very confident air.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, I shouldn't have assumed.
It's okay. Back inside, Arthur says, I have an idea, but it could be bad.
Bad how?
Well, the idea is to pluck that string.
Should we perhaps warn everyone to cover their ears so we're not traumatizing folks again?
That is a fair point.
That might cause a bit of a stir, admittedly, and we aren't guaranteeing it'll open up the doors and we're just gonna look like a bunch of weirdos plucking a string.
You do hear at this point through the microphone, hello everyone here this evening. So we do have a plan now, and we're going to do this in an organized manner. So I'm going to be coming around to you person by person, and we're going to get out of this room, to put it quite frankly. And so that begins, and Arthur says, yeah, that could be a good possibility of it happening again. So, good point. Yes. I don't like talking in front of people. Does somebody else want to do that? Tell them all to cover their ears.
Sure, I'll do it.
Is there also maybe before we just start telling people to cover their ears and freaking them out for no reason, could we possibly just ask people to move this harp off stage and go to an area where we can pluck it again, or is it being on stage necessary?
In my theory, it wasn't necessary, but I don't even know if this is gonna work. But, I think all of us can maybe move this and we can put it behind the curtain. That won't block the sound.
Well, I guess, Joe, you gotta warn folks.
All right. Joe leaps up onto the stage. Sure, got it. Okay. Hello, everyone. And I would love to use my new move if I can.
Let's make an entrance. Roll 2d6 plus grace.
I have a 7. I'm gonna do all attention is focused on me for a moment.
Everybody in the room turns and looks at you.
Thank you, everyone. Esteemed patrons of the arts. I know that tonight has gone quite awry, and everyone is handling it quite well, I would say. However, we would like to try an alternative method to everyone squeezing through a small crack in a door. It will, unfortunately, potentially, cause some of the earlier effects. So, in order to keep that from happening, I need everyone to cover their ears. I know it seems juvenile, but I promise you, it will be better if you do as I say. So, I'm going to wait until I see everyone covering their ears, and then I will give my colleague the go-ahead. So,
from around you, Arthur goes, I really do think that this is gonna work.
Yes, Arthur, thank you. Most of them are covering their ears, so they cannot hear you. She, scans the room. Are people complying?
People are desperate in this situation and pretty much willing to go along with whoever has the solution to the problem. So everybody has covered their ears. You see some people, very tightly, making sure all sound is blocked out.
Joe, goes down to where Arthur is, and she's like, Arthur, what are you going to do? Are you going to...
Maybe somebody that it didn't affect can cover my ears.
Amaretta will just cover Arthur's ears.
All right, I'm going to go back on stage. I'm going to make sure... I'm going to give everyone the go-ahead. So, on my 3...
I'm not going to be able to hear you.
Right. Mama will sort of elbow you or something. Or visual cue. I'll wave. How about that?
Okay.
Joe, leaps back onto the stage, makes sure that everyone is still covering their ears.
When you come back up, somebody uncovers it?
Nope. Again, please. Thank you. Joe covers her own ears and looks over and, does a big nod.
Plucks the string. The doors begin to open, and Joe, you hear No, you can't! And there's a yell from somewhere back in the room, and you see somebody that you think you maybe knew once. You see this woman with light red skin. She has short auburn hair, and the longest bit in the back kind of hits her collars. She has 2 small, almost imperceivable horns, and this dark beauty mark under her right eye. She's got this navy dress on that hugs her curves in all the right ways. You rack your brain for a moment for a name. A name of an ex of some sorts. And Annie pops up. And you watch as this woman starts tearing at people, pushing them to the sides to try to get up and get closer. You haven't seen her in a while, but something looks off. She seems to not be steady. She seems to be a little crazed, a little dazed. After the no, you can't, the words out of her mouth start to not really make sense anymore. She's trying desperately to say something, but the connections are not clicking. And like security kind of like comes up and like grabs her, and there's a bit of a scuffle as they try to stop her from rushing at the stage. She just keeps on this rambling words, and then finally the last thing that you hear clearly is, "You let them in." And then she falls unconscious in the arms of these security guards. This series stars Kenzie Tartaglione as the Game Master, Atlas Matthews as JJ August, Danielle Halen as Mama Amaretta, and April Consolo as Joanna Gilmore, with Michelle Kelly performing our episode recaps. You can help us out by listening and sharing, rating and reviewing, or coming over to our Discord. Also, you can join our Patreon to get access to our episode talkbacks and more. Thanks for listening.